rolling hills of Gaeltacht Muskerry Line here in Cúil Aodha, 3 miles southwest of Baile Bhúirne, nestling at the foot of these brackeny hills on the banks of the Sullane river. To these hills, this place and its people, Seán Ó Riada and his family came in search of a spiritual home, to a quiet, self-contained Gaeltacht community, beginning to find a compatibility between a Gaelic way of life and the modern technological society. Cynics would suggest that technology and the Gaelic way of life are mutually exclusive, that the weaker native culture must become swamped. Now, how does this unusual looking building behind me, set in this valley and among these rolling hills, how does it provide a unique link between Unsale Gaelach and modern industry? Well, let's go and find out. Well, Peadar Ó Riada, what business in fact have you here?
Oh, a spot of beekeeping, as it were.
Yes.
Make honey and so on.
And how long are you going now?
This is our second year, finished, completed this June.
Why did you in fact choose beekeeping and the honey industry as one to go into?
Well, we had been beekeeping as a hobby since we were quite young, and we had learnt and tasted and so on a lot of honey, and found out that the Irish honey was the best honey we've ever found anywhere else in the world. Now, there is a tradition, I think, here as well, going back over the centuries. There is. Well, that was the basic reason why we were beekeeping at all, probably. Everyone around here has seen bees since they were very young, and there are hives in most farmyards. So there was a tradition here of beekeeping. To that extent, we had bees of our own as well, and we started off with them. So in many ways, it was a matter of building upon something native to the area and taking it from there. It was, but I don't think we would have gone into actual business if it hadn't been for the fact that we were made aware of this factor, that Irish honey has a unique taste compared to other international honeys, and that's basically what made it a business prospect. Bees have always had a lore and a mystique all of their own. In hard times, they were a great standby for the farmer, but whereas that gave him certain skills, it also encouraged a part-time hobbyist mentality, not particularly suited to a modern full-time industry. One of Ó Riada's problems, therefore, was to upgrade the beekeeper's self-image. Part of his underlying philosophy is to promote a harmonious relationship between place, man and work through art. The honey house is a visual delight in itself, with the decor by local artists an important aesthetic element. But what of the process itself? In here in the extracting room, we do the extraction. We bring in the honey from the hives, our own hives, and from the hives of the scheme or anyone else that brings their honey here to be extracted. It comes in boxes straight off the hive. As you can see here, the lads are taking the cappings off it, in other words, the little wax layer of wax that the bees will put over the honey to seal it. Now, out of these cappings, we make two things. We use it to make mead later on in the year. And then out of the wax itself we make things like furniture polish, face packs for women, all sorts of things like that. The honey then goes into the extractor here, which spins it out. Starts off slowly and gradually spins it out, then like a spin dryer if you like, and down through a filter, a baffle filter here, and then down through these pipes into the tanks. And we can switch from one tank to another then according to the type of honey we're extracting, and keep the different types of honeys separate. It's bottled at the bottom of the tanks. We hope to automate this area down here during the winter, but I'm afraid for this crop this year we'll have to do it manually. We just simply fill in the jars here, and it goes out from here then upstairs to be waxed, sealed with beeswax. In the case of the pottery jars, have its cap put on and labelled and so on in the case of glass jars. Well, we also have a workshop, as you know. Originally this started as an area where we would just repair our own hives and our own equipment, and gradually then it grew from that. We started making our own equipment, and then people started asking us for little bits here and there, and gradually that grew. Then we had a scheme for small farmers and so on, and the demand is so much now we're even going to the export market. We had to shift from this premises here. We're shifting shortly in the next couple of weeks to a new premises with this part of the business.
And the frames and the hives come from local material?
They do. We buy the timber locally, and we get the vast 99% of the equipment and raw materials come from Irish sources, especially local sources around here.
tSuláin provides valuable supplementary income for farmers who keep a few hives, even for town dwellers with some hives out the back. A guaranteed top price for high-grade honey. It also reaches out to the local community and beyond, providing everything from advice to hardware. Beginners are encouraged, experienced beekeepers given an opportunity to increase their output. This local involvement is important. This is how the honey is packaged for the export market. Sealed in hand-thrown pots made locally. Another example of the use of local talents and materials to produce a product with a high ethnic profile, attractively packaged for the export market. Rob Bradstock is the local potter, and the potential for harnessing his particular skills was not overlooked. The making of these honey pots, Rob, how important is that to you?
Well, as a bread and butter line, it's quite important. I do domestic wear about half of the time, and the honey pot production is just part of it, really.
How aware are you of the importance of this as a local venture, the overall tSuláin?
Well, I'm just sort of one part of the chain, really. There's many people producing for the tSuláin.
And these are the workers who make it all possible. But to supply the demands of sophisticated shoppers in Berlin or New York, tSuláin buys Irish honey from all over the country, extending out beyond the local scheme. Quite an achievement for a young export industry situated on the side of a Gaeltacht hill, and it's as much to do with self-respect as it is with vision and initiative, as much with history as it has with marketing. The legend of Naomh Gobnat and her bees lives on in local consciousness, making this a modern industry rooted in the past.
At the moment it's a total commitment, I suppose, but it's also an effort to try and create an idyllic working situation, a pilot scheme, if you like, to try and bring the culture of the Gaeltacht and the artistic element of life in with modern industrial production.
I think there are many cynics who'd say that that can't be done. And what's your answer to that one?
Difficult to answer that one. I suppose the only thing is to wait and see if it works out. So far it's proving worthwhile. For example, all this painting and so on that we have inside, it attracts, the image of it attracts foreign buyers. Admittedly, it's a product that lends itself towards that type of romanticism, if you like. And it's a product that demands a certain amount of imagery to sell it. I mean, you couldn't do that with nuts and bolts, presumably, but, at the same time, there's an element of something new in it.
Now, regarding the people of the area generally, has it had any effect on their general morale?
Again, I'd be the last person to ask there, because I suppose I'd be the last person they'd tell me about it or that I would notice it. There's a lot of puzzlement about it, because people don't really understand what's going on. They see a house and they say the honey house or the bee house, and they have an image of a house full of bees running in and running out. It's difficult for them to understand the idea of having hives all around the country and bringing in the honey and extracting it in here. It's a new concept. You don't have big machines pumping out honey, putting in sugar at one end, as it were, and water and flowers or something, and honey coming out the other end. And therefore, it's difficult to judge what they think about it. They find it new.
It seems a little high-flown, if you don't mind me saying so, that you can have an artistic and a philosophical attitude to the entire industry, as well as a very practical business head which goes out and sells it. Do the two of them ever come into conflict, or where do you draw the line?
Well, I suppose if you go by instinct in artistic sense, as long as you keep your financial head sort of firmly in control, you can't go wrong. But once you sort of let the artistic thing run away, you'll be in serious trouble then, I presume. Most of this thing is done sort of, the artistic element especially is done on a quid pro quo sort of thing, like an arrangement with other artists or something like that. You give something and you get something sort of thing. It's not necessarily a financial deal,
Is there any danger that if tSuláin grows at the rate it is growing, that it will lose this personal touch, the 20 people who work for you there, and you know them by first name and they know you personally very well? Yeah, can that happen here?
Well, if it ever happened, I'd be the first one to leave it. I'd give it up. Because I originally started this thing with the idea of working in a place that I would like to work. If it grows too big, it's not what I want, so obviously I wouldn't have any business there anymore. I certainly would pack it in if that happened.
tSuláin is not simply a small industry employing 20 people here in Cúil Aodha with numerous outworkers in the neighbouring counties. There is in its art and philosophy a commitment to a people and a culture. The formula is simple. Make a high-quality product, present and market that product with flair and imagination, and success should follow. There are lessons here for all of us. For there is no more highly organised and also highly productive unit than the beehive itself. There are lessons here which both the IDA and Údarás na Gaeltacht should consider extending into other areas with similar compact, high-intensity ventures.